All right, so from before we saw that we got Math D with Science C. We already know that Math D is Austin. So Science C has to be Austin. So we'll put an O here, and X for the rest of that row and column. And so now we know that Science C and Math D go for Austin, and we know it this way too. And we know Austin can't be English A, so and we already have that in both directions. So let's look at Austin here. Austin is the middle GPA, so he's a 3, 2, and 1. So here's the 1, here's the 2, so English has to be the 3. So we know that Austin has to be English B, because it has to be the 3. So we'll put an X for the rest of that row, and X for the rest of that column. And then in this direction here, we can say that Austin is English B, and we'll put X for the rest of that row and column. And then we had seen just a minute ago that Austin also was Science C, so let's fill that in. And X for the rest of that column, and X for the rest of that row. And then we can see that, oh, okay, that leaves only one spot here, so that has to be an O for Science D for Mark, because Mark was the 4th GPA, so we put X's in the rest of that row and column. And then, so what we'll do now is just finish up a little bit with Austin. So we knew that Austin was English B, and then, oh, and this was supposed to be, oh, it's just not showing up yet, so let's try to see if we can get that to show up. Not supposed to be an X. So sometimes when the numbers are so small, they don't show up. So let me try to make it a little bigger and then smaller again so it'll fit. And then we can see that they show up now. Okay, so back to what I was talking about. So Austin is belongs with Math D and Science C and English B. So let's put that in here. And X for the rest of that row and column. And so Austin here is English B, and we know that's Science C. So let's put an O here and X for the rest of that row and column. And now let's look at Mark. So Mark, we know is the 4th GPA, so he's a 2, 2, 1. So here's a 2, and here's a 1. That means his English must be also a 2. So he has a 2 in math, he has a 1 in science, so he has to have a 2 in English. So let's put an O there, and an X for the rest of that column and row, and go in this direction. If he has a 2 in English, in science he has a D, so we'll put that here. So he has a D in science, and X for the rest of that row and column. And then only one spot here, so that has to be an O and X here, and now we have finished this box here. All right, so let's see what else. So let's finish this particular piece of information for Mark. So we knew he had a C in math. In science, he has a D, so I'll put that over here. And an X in the rest of that column and row. And then English, we know Mark has the C in English, so I'm going to put the O here and X for the rest of that row and column. And then, okay, there's only one spot here, so that has to be an O and X here. And now we finished this box between math and English. And then here, there's only one space, so we finished that box. Okay, and then we can, since we know this is Mark, let's just fill that in. We know that Mark, again, has the D in science, so we'll put that here. And X for the rest of that row and column. And Mark has, going back down here, he has the C in English, so we'll put that here. And X for the rest of that row and column. And we already knew this one, so I think we're pretty good with Mark now. And that we notice, oh, there's only one spot here left, So that has to be Bruno. And Bruno is the person who gets a B in science, so he has an A and a B. And then he has an F in English. So he's the 430 then, because an A, a B, and an F is a 4, a 3, and a 0. So now we know Bruno has to be this particular GPA. And so Bruno, with he had the A in math, put O there. He had the, what did we say Bruno had? So he has a B in science. And we put that here. And that leaves just that space there. So now that box is done. And we know that Bruno is the one with the F in English. So we have an F in English. So we put an O there, an X there, and put an O there. So now this we know has to be an O because that's all that's left there. And Bruno, we said, had the F in English, so we can put that here. And then only this is left. And most importantly, only this is left. So Erica had the highest GPA, and it had been decided that whoever had the highest GPA would have been the culprit, because nobody sneaks into an office and tries to lower their GPA. So Erica is the culprit.